We'll be bringing natural gas to McKinley.
How do they get the gas?
Ah, Frank, how are you? Listen.
What is that?
Lemonade.
The company we're going to be working with is called Global.
Yeah, is it good?
It's fantastic. It's fresh squeezed. There's a kid selling it out there. She is cleaning up. You want some?
No.
There are these rock deposits underground, deep, miles underground. And they create these drills that go down 2 or 3 miles, and the breaking of that shale is what actually releases the gas.
It's called fracking.
Excuse me?
The process is called fracking.
That's right. That's right, Frank. Now, if you'd let me finish, please. We have a basket.
I would encourage all of you, when you go home, to Google that word and see what you find. Unfortunately, it's not nearly as simple as what Supervisor Richards had just laid out.
Frank, I'm sure we all appreciate the point you're trying to make, but there's no decision to be made here. We need this.
I'm sorry, but this thing here, it may not be the saving grace that you all want it to be. Now, Jerry started this thing off by saying natural gas coming in here is life-saving, and it is. It's a clean and efficient resource. But the way we go about getting it is some dirty business.
Frank, with all due respect, I think you're out of your league.
The potential for error is just too high.
Thank you, Frank.
And there are people all over the country whose water is being contaminated.
Okay, Frank, I have absolutely had enough of this. We don't have the time to have this conversation here. If you want to come down to...
I'm late here. Sorry. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you, Mr.
Yates. My name is Frank Yates.
Mr. Yates, are you with an environmental group?
No.
No. Well, what line of work are you in, sir?
I'm a teacher at the high school.
A teacher?
I teach science. What about you, Mr.
Okay, yeah, well, I deserve that. Steve Butler is my name. I'm a consultant here with Global. I only caught the tail end of what you were saying, but you seem like someone who's done his homework. Could I ask you, though, where'd you get your information?
Mr. Butler, you and I both know the information I've been talking about is vast and detailed.
You're probably right. I'm not the guy with all the answers.
Oh, well, then you'd be the perfect guy for them to send here to deny everything.
Well, look, I'm not going to deny that this issue has been made pretty complicated by a few companies who've had their share of incidents, but we've been fracking in this country for over 50 years. This is not a new issue. This is not a new technology.
But Global is being sued. Isn't that true, Steve?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Just like any other company our size in any other industry. And the way we handle those lawsuits is we stand up to them because we're not in the business of handing out free money to people who make false claims against us. And the takeaway here is how many times we've lost, and that's none. We've never, ever lost one of these cases.
Well, you can't lose a game that's still being played. Look, Steve, I'm sure that even you can admit that fracking is far from a perfect process.
Perfect? Of course not. But given the government regulations that we have to adhere to and all the hoops we jump through, it's pretty close to perfect. The only reason that natural gas is so big right now is because it finally is the clean alternative to these dangerous industries like coal and oil.
If it's such an incredible alternative, why do they have to have a man standing off to the side of the room to make sure we all go for it? Seems to me it should be able to sell itself. But you're not the man with the answers, so who is? Because I still have questions.
Well, I'd like to answer all of those questions. But I'd just like everybody to keep something in mind here. There's no such thing as a neutral position here. If you are against this, you are for coal and oil. Period. I mean, unless we talk about cutting consumption, and so far that's a conversation none of us want to have.
Steve, I just came here to point out that this issue is a bit more complicated than it seems.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've certainly done that.
Well, great. I think we should take a vote.
Well,
in a couple of weeks, when we've all had time to think this whole thing through, I think we should put it to a vote.
with all due respect, the people in this town really need this. They need this. And quite frankly, I don't think that anybody here is going to be swayed by one man. I'm sorry.
You're right. These people and I came here to say we strongly believe this is not in the best interests of this town.
Hey, Jerry. Jerry, I'm sorry. These kids have regional